I think one of the ideal relationships for a strength coach and athletic trainer is like we are on the same team and we both have to adapt what we do to fit the coaching staff style. So like we both have to communicate. We both have to figure out like, all right, we had a really long practice today. Maybe we're going to change this in the weight room. Maybe we need to do more of this in the athletic training room. So I think like this relationship is super important to be able to help the team. Yeah. The coaching, they're the coaches. They're going to do what they're going to do regardless. And we have to adapt to that and, kind of fill in the gaps for our team.
What's going on, Samson Strength Coach Collective listeners? On today's episode, we have Jess Kinder, Senior Associate Athletic Trainer at Appalachian State University. She asked me to refer to her as Big Dog for the podcast. So I will make sure to get the title right for the rest of the episode. But she is our men's basketball athletic trainer. And obviously, she's going to laugh at me saying this, my friend and a great athletic trainer. All right. So, all right. But thank you. Nope, absolutely not. So this is mostly how most of our conversations go, by the way. But we work, okay. We work hand in hand with the men's basketball team here at Appalachian State. And Jess, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, there we go.
Friend.
Okay. All right. I immediately regret it. So, okay, so obviously we work together on a daily basis, but most people obviously don't know your background either. So can you just give us a background of your career, what got you interested in athletic training, where you've been, and then what's brought you to Appalachian State?
So I have the standard why I want to be an athletic trainer story. I was an athlete growing up. I had a really good athletic trainer in high school. I had an injury. And he was a big part of my wanting to come into this career. He also taught like our sports med class in high school as like a elective or whatever they call it. And he went to Illinois State and my sister went to Illinois State. I was like, well, let me see. Like I went on a visit there. I didn't want to go there because so many people had already gone there. And that's where everybody went, where I'm from. Loved it. Ended up going to school there. Absolutely loved going there. At the time, it was one of 13 master programs in the country. And that's obviously a lot different now. But I got a really good education with really good people who were kind of like at the cutting edge of what we were doing at the time. Went to school there and then got my master's at North Dakota State in advanced athletic training. So I picked a master's program specifically for athletic training where you could do, a master's in education, master's of sports management. If I'm going to go to school, I wanted to learn something that I cared about. So I did that. My first job was at Bradley University with women's basketball. And then I also helped with cross country, track and field, tennis. And then during COVID, picked up volleyball and baseball also. So it was pretty busy. And then spent 3 years at Bradley. From there, I went to Rutgers for women's basketball for 3 years. And I had tennis also for 2 of those years. And then one quick year at Ball State, and now I'm here with you guys.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's quite the story. I like it.
Yeah.
What was your injury? I don't know about the injury. What was the injury that initially caused you to work with an athletic trainer?
I had an ankle sprain. I played softball into college, and I had an ankle sprain that turned into it's called sinus tarsi syndrome. So my ankle just swole up all the time for no reason. So my feet were in the ice bucket all the time. It was terrible.
That's what you're looking for?
Yeah, awesome. It wasn't ideal. But I spent a lot of time with him. And I think he overall was a really big impact for my career choices. And he actually passed away not too long ago in an accident. So it's kind of still something I think about a lot is would he be proud? I guess I hope he's proud, but am I still trying to be as good as an athletic trainer as he was to me, to my athletes?
I think you'd certainly be proud. I obviously know how you work with the athletes here, and I know the level of care and dedication that you give to them. What were the things that he did that really opened your eyes to the benefits of athletic training, what that relationship can look like with an athlete?
The relationship.
Yeah.
Because I think athletic trainers are different because we are with athletes when they're healthy, when they're not healthy, through a return to play, after surgery. Sometimes we're in surgery with them. I've been in several surgeries before. So you're really with the athlete for the entirety of everything they do. They don't have to be hurt to come see you. And I think that's, I love that part of my job. I don't have to see patients in a clinic every 15 minutes or appointment times, things like that. I just get to be around. I get to watch them practice. I get to watch them have fun. So the relationship is like the number one thing that, and he was just fun to be around, and like just made us all feel like we were superstars.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
We were not. It was a very small high school. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I just want to have good relationships with my teams.
Well, as you're saying that, it makes me kind of think back to, like you said, where they don't have to be injured to come see you. You develop this relationship. When an athlete undergoes a serious injury or even a minor injury, and you guys end up spending more time together and you do different type of work versus just prehab or maintenance or things like that, do you feel like the athlete relationship gets taken to a new level, or does it transform a little bit?
I think in like different ways though. I don't think it's always the same. I think like sometimes you just naturally have a better relationship, but like sometimes you have sillier athletes, more serious athletes who open up more, like are just around more. And then you have some athletes that you don't initially connect with right away, or a little bit more closed off. And like when you go into a rehab process, a long-term post-surgical process with someone like that, like you get to know them a lot more. And it's like kind of like you're starting from scratch, versus like if you have an athlete who's usually really talkative and really open and really silly, like, and then you go through this with them, it's like you see you see a sadder side of them.
Yeah,
so it's like you're going in the opposite direction depending on the athlete, like how you start. And that's just kind of like, it's one of the better parts, is like you don't know what you're going to get, and you can like kind of just evolve and be whatever you need to be for that athlete, and you get to see different sides of different people. And of course you get closer in the end after going through something like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think back to, from the strength and conditioning side, like obviously having a redshirt athlete versus a athlete who's playing a lot, like I think back to one of our post players who obviously has done a great job this year, but he was a redshirt with me 2 years ago. And so we were super close. We're still close, but our relationship was different because I saw him every single day,
Right.
And it was a lot more time that we spent together. And like you said, there's even a little bit of the sad side to it, because it's like, all my friends are playing. We were really good that year. All my friends are
playing, and I'm missing out, or I can't do that, or I can't do what I used to be able to do.
Yeah. And there was a lot of cheerleading, and there was a lot of, look, there's going to be better times, but you've kind of got to help encourage them and push them through those times. And it can be difficult a lot, So I think then you see, okay, once they're done with their process, whether it's with the red shirt or with injury rehab, you don't get to see them as much, but there's definitely a different, it does get a little sad
like,
for sure.
Come visit.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And like that same player played 30 minutes per game for us, so it was really a lot of time spent with the coaches, more time spent with you than it was, okay, let's get this extra work in, because, his capacity was just kind of full. And so ultimately it is a little bit sad, but, there is still that residual, like, okay, we do have a different type of relationship than I do with somebody who came in and immediately started playing. Like we have developed something different, and it makes it more fun, in my opinion, to work with them.
I think the other good aspect of like spending so much time, like one-on-one time with the rehab process, is like when they come in, like with one of our injuries right now, when he comes in, like we kind of skip all of the pleasantries. Like we're just more comfortable. Like I know I can pick up when he's having a bad day, and maybe we're not going to joke around as much, or he can pick up when maybe I'm not having a good day. And hopefully they don't really pick up on that often, but we are people.
That's true.
And like we're just more comfortable with each other, and it makes being in the training room more fun.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, oh, this is a normal person that I care about, that cares about me, and we're just here working towards the same goal.
Yeah. And I think it's similar to the relationship that we have as strength coach and athletic trainer, because ultimately we see each other every day, where that's not really the case in a lot of different schools, because obviously my main priority being here is with men's basketball. Your main priority is with men's basketball as well. And so we're at practice every single day. We travel together. And so it's the same type of our relationship development as well too. Like I see you a lot, and we know how to, like you said, it's not like I stop by and I'm like, oh, hey, how are you doing? And then, oh, by the way, somebody, hurt their back and lift, just so you know.
Just so I hurt one of the athletes.
No. It's like we can communicate those things.
We have to have our Diet Coke times.
I wish I had mine to hold up, but I crushed mine in like 5 seconds. So it's already done. Well, as everybody knows me, I love a DC. So
DC. Yeah. I think one of the best parts about one of the ideal relationships for a strength coach and athletic trainer is like we are on the same team, and we both have to adapt what we do to fit the coaching staff style. So like we both have to communicate. We both have to figure out like, all right, we had a really long practice today. Maybe we're going to change this in the weight room. Maybe we need to do more of this in the athletic training room. So I think like this relationship is super important to be able to help the team.
Yeah.
The coaching, they're the coaches. They're going to do what they're going to do regardless, and we have to adapt to that and kind of fill in the gaps for our team.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And I think the better relationship we have too, like you said, it's better for the team, but then, there's certain things that I can help you with, like just quick reminders about like, okay, as soon as the lift is done, you guys got to go see Jess right away. Right.
Get to
you get to the training room. And
don't get distracted.
Which we have a team of loafers. That's for sure.
Yeah. Marinators.
Yeah. The marinators. That's the term they like to use is they'll get,
they need to get escorted.
That's marinate. Yeah. They need to be personally escorted to everything that we do. But ultimately, we can help each other out on those things too. So it is beneficial. Yeah. So you mentioned already, like that's one of the key pieces of a strength coach and athletic trainer relationship. Mm-hmm. What are the other things that you look for? What to you says that this is a really high quality and high productive relationship versus one that may not be as much?
I think sharing knowledge, like having similar, like you took anatomy classes and you're taking all these you're educating yourself. And I try to be, I don't know a lot about programming and whatnot, but I try to be familiar with the weight room. So like being able to speak the same language is important to each other, like to our relationship. And then trust is huge. Like I need to know that when I put on the injury report, this person shouldn't be doing plyos, that like you're not going to have them do plyos. Like I know that you're detail oriented. So like I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to like go check in and stuff. So that's big. I think being on the same page in front of the athletes, so saying the same message, and just like even we're like, I don't know, but we're not saying the opposite of each other. Is really important too.
For sure. Where do you think, because obviously this is a strength and conditioning podcast. We've had a lot of strength and conditioning coaches come on here, and I'm sure you're aware of it. I've been aware of it my whole career, is that sometimes there can be a butting of heads between strength and conditioning and athletic training. And it's almost like the natural order of things is that they're not supposed to get along, when really it's like they're supposed to be. If it's a functional and a high quality sports performance team, they're really supposed to get along. Yeah. Where do you think it can go wrong? What are the ways that you think it can be a bad relationship?
A lack of trust. I think like, egos, when egos get in the way of like, well, you're doing this in the training room. And if I say like, I don't think he should be doing pull-ups, but you think he should be doing pull-ups, things like that. And like, I think talking, and I think we do a good job of like, hey, this person's at this phase of his rehab. Here's what's going on. Like, what do you think program wise we need to do for him in the weight room? So I think we make a lot of decisions together for people who are going through injuries, which is important. But I think egos really get in the way sometimes of people. And like, there's no need for that. Because at the end of the day, like neither of us have jobs without the athletes. Yeah. So like, why are we arguing? Like if the athletes leave, I have nobody to take care of. You have nobody to train. Like it's just, we have to be on the same page. Yeah. Like no egos and just work together.
Well, and I think kind of one of my pet peeves that I can see other strength coaches do is they kind of hit this weird realm where a lot of coaches are expected to overextend themselves into areas that are just not their expertise, right? So like you see my biggest pet peeve, obviously being married to a dietitian, is when strength coaches are like, well, I'm also a nutrition coach, and it's like, well, nutritionist, anybody can be a nutritionist. You and I can call each other nutritionists at any point in time. But a dietitian is a much different thing. Then strength and conditioning coaches say, well, I can help you with the nutrition. I can do these things. And I've also noticed a leak into kind of the athletic training realm where strength coaches say, well, I know these rehab exercises. I think that these are the most beneficial. And it's like, what blows my mind, and I just don't get it, is like, I know the programming side. I know the strength and conditioning side. I know all the things that we can do and I can do well. Why not let the expert be the expert? Right. And do the appropriate things and handle the rehab process.
Well, and vice versa. Like I know that in February, you're not going to kill them in the weight room. Yeah. And then that's going to make me deal with more soreness and things like that in the training room. So I think like, just like, I know that you know what you're doing. You're not going to make decisions that are going to make my job harder. Hopefully I don't make decisions that make your job harder. Yeah. So I think that's important.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So what are some things that you would like people to be aware about athletic training? Maybe specifically strength coaches, maybe like, I guess what I'm asking is, what are the challenges that you face? What are some things that you think people should be more aware of or should understand about athletic training so that the better relationship can be developed?
I think just talk to each other. Like just talk to each other more. Like we're all doing the same, like we all get tired throughout the season and we all like work a lot, and then we all usually have to do things that aren't in our job description and we just get annoyed. But I think like talking to each other helps almost any problem. And just like giving the other person a chance to to do the right thing and like be successful. Like I've definitely had situations with strength coaches in the past where it's like there is somebody on the injury report that should not be doing a certain movement, and then they're doing it, and that's frustrating to me, and that's a lack of trust. But I think talking to each other ahead of time avoids a lot of those problems. Like even if I send you the injury report every day, like we still talk.
Yeah.
So there's nothing that falls through the cracks.
Yeah.
And like respect professionally, like what we talked about, like if you're the expert in that room, I'm the expert in that room. Like it's just respect each other and don't have an ego and try to go kick down other people's doors.
Let people be the experts in their areas. Yeah. And possibly with strength coaches, it take a long time to write programs. That can be tough too.
That is one of the biggest, complaints of my current job.
Yeah, it's tough.
The guy who programs for me takes forever.
I wrote Jess a 4-week program one time, and she saw the results that can come from it. And then it was 2 weeks, but you knew how to progress it for 4 weeks.
It was a
4 weeks was implied. It was a 2-week program, but you saw the results and you saw how amazing the program was, and it was just like you just got to have another program. So
gotta have it.
I just ended up taking building suspense, taking more time to write the program, but now the new program's uploaded. Actually,
I got the email today.
You got the email today.
You have a workout.
Look at that. It's pretty exciting news.
Yeah. So, but I think that's something that helps like athletic trainer, strength coach relation. Not that you should program for your athletic trainer, although all strength coaches should program for their athletic trainer. But I think just like that helps with our understanding, because like I'm familiar with your programming. I know what you're doing in the weight room. I know like you're not doing crazy, dangerous movements, or I know that you're not doing too much. Because I think in both of our worlds, there is a trend of like doing the complicated things, and the simple things have worked for so long for a reason. And I think that's something you do really well with your programming, is like it's not overcomplicated. It's not these really complex movements or whatever that the guys can't wrap their minds around. But I know that you just have that good quality to the point programming.
That's very kind of you. Thank you.
Really?
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's very nice, because you've also, I mean, I've told our listeners probably a million times that I really, truly program as simple as possible. So you reinforce that, and I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You really do.
Okay, I don't like the really do. I mean,
no, but I think that you put in like simple, like straightforward movements, but then like it'll be like the 8-6, 5-5-5-5, or like the eccentrics or things like that, and like level it up.
Yeah.
But in the appropriate areas.
And that's what I try to do. So I appreciate that. But I think that's also where we align, like you said, and I think that's a big piece of why we can get along and have a good relationship, is because ultimately we both agree that simple is going to be the best foundation for it.
Yeah.
If you need to get complicated later, you can.
Yeah.
But everybody should be on the simple piece first, and then we can discover what we need further.
A lot of people skip the foundation.
Yeah.
Like they skip like what works, and like they jump to phase 10 of an exercise, and it's like this athlete can't even stand on one foot.
Yeah.
Like let's work on balance before we start doing balance and all of this other vestibular training with them. Like stop just get your athlete to balance first.
Well, it's like when I see middle school strength coaches taking their athletes through triphasic. It's like, well, this person can't even squat their body weight yet.
Fantastic.
And now we're doing French contrast training.
This person can't even body weight.
Yeah, exactly. Like we need to figure this stuff out first. I guess that brings me into one of the questions I'm curious about. Like, what are the trends in athletic training right now that are bothering you? Or what are some things that you see too much of and is kind of a little bit annoying?
I think in general, athletic training is going through a lot of changes right now. Moving from an undergraduate clinical program to an entry-level master's degree, and it's changed the entire curriculum. So athletic trainers that are coming out are very different. And I think we are trying to move our profession forward and like get paid more and get more respect in the medical world and things like that, which is all great. But I do see kind of a drop in interpersonal skills and, relationships in general. Like I think a lot of our newer grads struggle talking to coaches and talking to each other. And so I think, we need to work on our relationship building in athletic training right now. And then the same thing with it becoming an entry-level master's degree. I think the curriculum has really gotten a little like it's skipped the foundation. We're doing all of this kind of crazy measurements and crazy data collection things, like, but that we have no data to collect if you can't rehab an ankle.
Yeah.
So like, let's rehab an ankle. Let's learn how to do our job. And then as you're in the career and in the profession moving through, like, then you can add, like, I want to be a sports science, a data-driven type of athletic trainer, or I want to be a rehab-driven, or I want to be manual therapy, or whoever you want to be. Do that after. So I think we're kind of skipping we're skipping a lot. And relationships is the reason most of us got into this career.
Yeah.
And we're skipping that phase of like how to talk to people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that goes very hand in hand with some of the strength and conditioning stuff that I see. Like, I think you, in my opinion, have to be a master of the general before you can specialize.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, we see a lot of people who specialize really quickly, and they say, well, I'm going to be a basketball strength coach. I'm going to be a football strength coach.
Yeah.
When the best thing I ever did was, take the part-time job at Tennessee, and then I had to assist literally every team. And now it's like, okay, now I know how different people train golf, softball, rowing. Like, it's all these different sports with a lot of different components, but it allowed me to think outside the box. But really, you're just being general. Then when I want to specialize, you can do things better from there.
I think, athletic training, the same thing. I was a GA at a D2 school, and being at a D2 school, I had to cover everything. Yeah. And then going to a small mid-major that didn't have football, and we had 4 people on staff. Like, we all covered a lot of sports. And I think that's good for you to just get experience of how to be a strength coach, be an athletic trainer, whatever. But I think a lot of times as we get into our career, we're like, oh, this certification is really popular. I'm going to go get that. I'm going to go get dry needled. I'm going to get manual therapy. I'm going to get this rehab. You're going to get certifications in every little pile, and you're not a master of anything.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have like your bread and butter. This is what I'm really good at. This is like what my staff can come to me and know that I will guarantee I know how to do that. So like for me, it's like rehab. I'm really rehab based, movement based, and like lower body, obviously. If I have a shoulder question or I'm dealing with a shoulder rehab, I know I can go to our baseball AT. Mm-hmm. She's going to be able to help me with that. Or maybe we have somebody who's really good with manual therapy and like trigger points and releases and manipulations, and I can go to that person for that. But I don't need to be 50% good at everything.
Yeah. Jack of all trades, master.
Yeah. I need to be really good in my lane.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what's even been funny for me too, when I go back and take these anatomy classes, and as I've been trying to do more continuing education work, is I wasn't even really that good at the general stuff. I'm relearning a lot of stuff that I'm like, okay, I kind of knew this, but I couldn't repeat it. I couldn't pass the test on it without restudying it, So it's been interesting for me to see that 9 years into my career, there's still a lot of stuff that I have to review and go over before I can even really consider myself a master.
But we all should continue to do that our whole career. Like, I think for us and for you too, I mean, for both of us, like, if you know anatomy, you can figure out almost anything. But if you stop studying anatomy or you stop revisiting anatomy, like, you're going to lose some of it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think just like having a really big emphasis on education and continuing education is really important over your career.
And I think the biggest lesson I've learned is just that the forearm muscles are a massive pain in the ass. I hate them. I can't do them very well.
The facial muscles, the forearm muscles, the neck muscles. Yeah. There's a lot of groups of muscles that are really terrible.
Yeah. And I'm not very good at finding them on the
deep rotators.
Yeah, miserable. Absolutely.
Too many names. Very long names. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned it just a little bit, but what is really your philosophy within the athletic training room? Obviously, we talked about, there's going to be a lot of general movements. There's going to be some, prehab work. There's going to be a lot of lower body work that you specialize in. But, what is the goal of the athletic training room for you? Let's say for somebody who's not injured and then somebody who is injured.
I think the easy one is if you're not injured, like, I want you to know that it's a space that you can come and like continue to be not injured. Mm-hmm. So I want you to learn, and we're in the Sun Belt. We're not, our whole team isn't going to the NBA this year.
Yes.
But I want them to know how to take care of themselves when they do go play overseas or the G League or wherever they end up going. Hopefully they all go to the NBA. But I need them to learn how to stretch. Because like it's kind of wild when you see these athletes who have been playing basketball for their whole lives. And you're like, stretch your hamstring. And they're like, what is that?
Yeah.
You're like, the back of your leg. You can do it. And they're like, how do I do that? Well, here's 4 different ways that you can stretch your hamstring. Pick which one you like the most. But I want them to learn how to take care of their bodies so they can continue to play after college. I want them to like know that it's an open door and like, here's some recovery things. Like I always tell them when you're in November, you're going to feel so good in November compared to February.
Yeah. So like,
the more that you do in the summer and in the fall, the better you will feel in the spring. So I want them to come in and be proactive, learn how to do some mobility exercises, learn how to, if they want to get in the red light, whatever they want to do. If you're not injured, you can do whatever you want to do. If you're injured, I get to pick what you do.
Yeah.
So, and then in that case, the same thing. Like, I do want them to learn. Like, we have somebody graduating right now who has a recurrent ankle issue, and I want him to learn how to take care of that when he goes wherever he's going to go, because he's at the point that an injury could mean the end of his career because he's not going to get a contract. Mm-hmm. So they need to learn the same skills. when you're in for an injury in my ideal scenario in the training room, I do same thing. Don't skip the basics. We're not a feel good training room. Like we're we're here to get some stuff done. We're not going to just sit on the table and
hug it out.
We're not going to do that. But I think rehab, like we do rehab every day. And if you like same thing, if I know that you have for basketball, like patellar tendonitis, you're probably going to have it forever. Mm-hmm. In the summer, we're going to hit that really hard. You're going to be doing rehab, strengthening 5 days a week in the summer. And in the season, if you did what you were supposed to do, hopefully we can knock down 2-3 days a week. But building a foundation for those kind of chronic injuries, and then, acute injuries, it's how fast can we do everything possible to keep you playing?
Yeah.
So if you're in 3 times a day, you're in 3 times a day. But I like to look at every ankle sprain is different. Every knee is different. Like I can't get tunnel vision and be like, this is what I do for ankles, because it might not work for this person. Mm-hmm. So just reassessing every day. And like, of course I come in with a plan of like, this is what I want to do today with this ankle, but maybe it's not ready, or maybe he had a rough day yesterday and we have to change. So I think being flexible and just like, I'm a perfectionist. I really expect them to do high quality rehab. Like I don't want them to go do this exercise the wrong way, because we're wasting both of our times. Mm. So I'm very like on top of them, perform and whatnot. Like if you're gonna do it right, don't do it at all.
Well, being efficient.
Yeah, I want to be efficient. We got things to do. I got other athletes to take care of. So like let's all stay on track so you can go play basketball. Yeah. That's the goal.
That's excellent. And I do really appreciate what you say about the life skills aspect of it, because as you and I both worked in basketball, I've heard some horror stories of what happens overseas, right?
Yeah.
Like,
you don't have anything.
Yeah, you literally, like, there's some situations that, the team barely even feeds you,
Or you're sleeping on a couch.
Exactly. And now you're trying to figure out how to lift, how to rehab your own injuries. And like you said too, especially with your career in athletic training, it's really important, because if you get injured, there's no time for injuries over there. It's not like you are the key mark player that they're going to have to hold on to, and there's no scholarships involved. They'll just cut you.
And you probably don't have healthcare.
Yeah.
So good luck.
Well, and then if you look at the universal healthcare system too, like it's fantastic, but one of the detriments is it's not built for athletes.
They don't have the urgency
there's no speed. You're not going to get answers immediately, and so ultimately the life skills piece is really important,
right?
Especially for our level, because like you said, everybody wants to go to the NBA. I would love for everybody to go to the NBA. We have a player who was with us last year who went to the NBA, which is awesome. But out of my, this would be my 4th season with the program we just finished up, we've had one player go to the NBA, and a lot of players go overseas. And so they need to learn how to take care of themselves, because that's the reality of men's professional basketball.
Well, and even the ones who do get the 2-way contracts or they go to the NBA, like you're still a rookie.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to step away from LeBron to take care of you.
No.
So you got to be on top of your stuff. Even no matter what level you go to, you really need to stay. You need to be preventative.
Yeah.
Because if the best ability is availability, like if you're not taking care of your body, and the only thing you need, you can go buy new shoes, you can go buy a new uniform, you can go buy a ball, you can't buy a new body. So you have to take care of it on the front end.
I'm going to steal. That's going to be the quote for the show. That's a good one. I like that.
Thank you.
But, again, it's huge too. There you go. It makes sense. It was good. I'm bought in now. I'm going to commit to App State. So. But yeah, I don't think they would ever want me anyway.
I'm seeing your free.
Yeah, exactly. So, but ultimately, you mentioned the piece too, where if you are a rookie, they're going to be really concerned with the high level players, the ones who are on the max contracts, and then ultimately another piece of your recruitment too is how seriously you take the training room.
Of course,
you get calls from scouts. I'll get calls from scouts about what does this look like. It could be the make or break between signing a contract for some players, because if they find out, okay, this is somebody who is just talented enough to play for us, but are they going to be a problem? Like, do we have to worry about finding this guy?
Like, is this guy going to have to sit 10 games out? Whereas I could sign this guy who is in really good health and really takes care of his body, eats well, sleeps, lifts, like does what he needs to do. Like they're going to sign that guy.
No doubt. And we've both seen it. So I'm glad we can mention it. Obviously don't have a lot of, athlete listeners to this podcast, but for the strength coaches, and maybe one day that'd be cool. Right. But for the strength coaches, it's important to know that like, these are two people who have had the same experience and seen these things. So you can share the same message with your athletes. From a basketball standpoint. What are kind of some of the major injuries that you typically see? What are the recurrent injuries? And, ultimately, how do you try to address those in a prehab standpoint or a prevention standpoint?
I mean, there's a ton of research on basketball injuries. So like we know that we're going to have ankle sprains. We know that we're going to have knee tendonitis injuries, and we know we're probably going to have back pain. And that back pain a lot of times comes from the hips. It doesn't usually, and that's something that people need to think about is if you have like an area of pain, it's probably not coming from that direct area. So like treating the entire body. But I think ankle sprains for sure, number one. And then a lot of mobility, because if the body is tight, you're going to get hurt.
Yep.
So you have to move. You have to, and I like how with your programming, you always throw some of that stuff in there. So then I don't have to do it. I can spend time on other things.
It works well.
Yeah, it works well. But like, I know that you do like the low back touches that you call them, like pelvic tilts for us ATs, but
the straight good has dumb it down a little bit.
The full back touches.
You touch your low back.
Touch your low back to the ground. But I know you do stuff like that. I know you do like the toes in, toes out, heel and toe walking stuff. So like, I don't do that. That's another thing with like, we talk, I know what your programming is.
Yeah.
So we're not double dipping. We're not, wasting the athlete's time, but just, you're going to have ankle sprains, you're going to have patellar tendonitis. So like kind of teaching them ahead of time, not to do that, you can avoid.
Yeah, just don't do that. Just don't sprain your ankles.
I tell them that all the time.
Don't let your knee hurt. Don't let you do it.
No, I'm like telling them ahead of time. Like we have gonna be a junior right now that has had patellar tendonitis for 2 years now. Like he thinks he's done with rehab. He's not done.
You've only just begun.
You've only just begun. But like you have to stay on top of it.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna keep coming back, and because like you have maybe you have weak eccentric control or something that, but you can fix things on the front end. I know they're probably going to sprain your ankle at some point. What can we do that makes it a grade 1 instead of a grade 3 when it happens? Like how fast, and the stronger you go into something, the faster you come out of it with rehab base. So if you can have a foundation for those 3 things, so ankles, knees, and backs, then you're probably in a good spot.
That's awesome. I like the only one I would possibly add in myself is, literally hamstring strains or groin strains when the floor is wet. The
floor is wet.
Oh my goodness. I can't handle it.
Yeah. I mean, like you can only do so much.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's hopefully not like uneven surfaces on the court.
Yeah.
So if they're going to sprain their ankle, it's probably going to be from landing on, both. And we have so much research in basketball now that we know that, I think it's, I don't know, some number, I don't want to, probably 80% of ankle sprains happen in the paint.
Yeah.
Rebounding. Because that's the most, probably chance you're going to
collection of feet.
Yeah, collection of feet. You're jumping, you're turning, you're getting hit while you're in the air. So like we kind of know where injuries are going to happen and what's going to happen in certain areas of the court. Even like, in transition, you reach higher speeds and things. So kind of try to predict and prevent those things
as much as possible. Yes. So
I know after this you're going to make fun of me for some things.
No, I'm not. You're doing a great job. Seriously, you're doing fantastic. I am kind of mean to her, so I won't lie about that. But I do want to talk about a little bit of what our process was going into the Sun Belt tournament. Because I thought we had a really good system. Yeah, you did for sure. And so obviously, what's up, Zach? So obviously, there was a lot of discussion with the tournament, you coaches may have seen on Twitter with the strength and conditioning, the basketball approach of now we're going to play 7 games in 7 days. And it's going to be as much as possible. Yeah. The Fun Belt Gauntlet or whatever they called it. Right. And so obviously we come in, we were 4 seeds. So to win the tournament, have to win 3 games in 3 days. Right. Didn't go our way, but we had a plan for if,
we were potentially did.
We were locked in. So I'll start with my end of things is, I knew for a fact that there were going to be some things I'd have to be available for, and that there were going to be some things that I knew the players might want to do, like ice baths. There's some modalities that they could like and they could end up using, they could not end up using. My area was a little bit more on the voluntary side. What was your area like? And then how was it blending what we had to come up with an ultimate plan?
I think the first thing we did is like we didn't recreate what we already do. So like we know what our routine is on the road. Like we know that we're going to do film and walk through at night, and then you're going to do a mobility session with them. So like keeping those things the same, like, okay, we're going to do what we always do. And then we're going to add, for us, like we don't play 12 players. So like we can spend a lot of time on our starters and the 2-3 that come off the bench. So we added IVs in between games was the plan, obviously. But and then morning, we want to make sure that you and I both agree that they need to get off their feet sometimes, and like less is more every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
So what can we do to maximize their time, be efficient in our care for them? Let them go to bed after the game.
Yeah.
They need to go to bed. And then we don't need to keep them up doing all these extra things. Like if we do IVs at night, they're probably going to be up going to the bathroom. We need them to get high quality sleep. So you always do the creatine and everything else that you do in the bottles at night. So we had that on lock. For me, it was just kind of like, if we have injury people, like I'm going to take care of them post game, a quick little session, but otherwise they need to go to bed. They need to sleep. We're not going to get them up early. We're going to find time around the team schedule to do red light, to do Normatec boots, to do ice baths, to do the warm wool pools. Like we have a lot of different options, but overall our biggest thing was just efficiency.
Yeah.
So like pairing up, maybe they're going to be in the Normatec boots in front of the red light, getting an IV all at the same time.
Yeah.
So then they don't have to spend more time on their feet or moving around.
Well, and we both know that we're a team that walks through a lot. We watch, a good amount of film, not as much film as necessarily, but a lot of walkthrough, a lot of being on their feet in those moments too. Mm-hmm. So again, that's where it's beneficial for us to have a good relationship, as we know, okay, we already know these things. We don't even have to have, almost like you were saying with the, like, let me have the pleasantries conversation first. Like we don't even have to discuss the guidelines for this. We know these things, and so that we can have a conversation from there. But I thought what worked really well, it was our conversation really started from a standpoint of like, all right, what can I do to help you? What can you do to help me? Where do we meet in the middle to make sure that we're as efficient as possible?
Well, and also like, what do you think is actually necessary?
For sure.
Like does everybody need to take an ice bath? No. Do we have certain guys who really like it, or certain guys that we should recommend that they do it? Yes. And if they really like it and they're not injured, do your thing. If that's going to make you score 20 plus points, do your thing. Please do it.
Please.
Take all the ice baths you want. But I think that and we also, the other important thing is we know our team really well, and we know that we can't overschedule them because then we will not get quality.
Yeah.
So we have to condense, we have to be efficient. Otherwise we lose them. And they're going to have, they're not really going to try. They're going to be at mobility because I have to, but it's not going to be as good quality.
No doubt.
So I think knowing your team is important with that too.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, I'm also curious about this too, from a athletic training standpoint. In the season, right? You guys have to be here the most out of anybody, I'd say, right? Because you end up covering practices, right? And then you're there for rehabs and treatments. But then on Sundays, you're also available when we typically have Sundays off, right? Yeah. And so you have to still come into work on the days where everybody else has to come into work. What does the work-life balance look like for an athletic trainer? What are some ways that you try to decompress to help keep your longevity in this career?
I think, for us working basketball, you kind of know that you're not going to have a work-life balance. You kind of have to tell yourself, this is what I signed up for. I know I have to work on Sundays, but I also know that on Sundays, I'm going to get more done on a Sunday than I am on a Tuesday because I don't have to compete with the weight room time, the practice time, film, study hall. I don't have to compete with everything else on their schedules. I get my dedicated time with them. So I really look forward to Sundays. At this point, I used to hate them. I still get a little upset driving in sometimes, but I know that I'm going to have a really good, just one-on-one or one-on, however many come in that day. I mean, we mandate it. So, but I get to actually do some time with them without having to worry about what time they have to leave or what else they have going on. And they're usually a little bit more locked in. So I really enjoy it, and changing my mindset over the hours is really the only thing you can do. I went to a talk at a conference a couple of years ago, and the director at Michigan did a talk on burnout. And he said, it's unrealistic to say you're not going to have bad days, but burnout isn't really a thing if you really like what you do. So I think, making sure that you know what you signed up for. This is what I get tired and cranky in February, but I also know that in May, I'm not going to do very much. Or this week, we're off, we're chilling, we're hanging out. I think just having a passion for what you do is important. Yeah. And that helps fix a lot of things.
No doubt. And I mean, I think what you said that was interesting too, is you said you used to hate the Sundays, and now I'm sure you had to learn to grow to love them and have that mindset.
I have to work Sunday.
Yeah.
If I want to keep my job. If I want to keep my job, I got to work on Sunday. Yeah. So, and I like to win. Yeah. I really hate losing. Yeah. And it puts me in a bad mood, and then I'm not a good version of myself around other people in my life. But what can I do to help us win? Getting a lot done on a Sunday helps us win. Yeah. It helps us have a better week, so we don't have to, put things off. And if they do nothing besides marinate like they like to do on Sundays, they're going to come in Monday really stiff. So I think I like to win, and winning makes me happy. So what can I do to help us win? And that's that.
I think I have a very similar mindset on that too, because, there's certain times where I don't really want to make shakes or fruit cups or do these things. Right. But like at the same fruit, but at the same time, it's like, okay, are my actions helping us get closer to winning?
Yeah.
Even to the 0.0001%. Fine.
Is there a
because
chance?
Is there a chance that this can help us win? Yes. Because how many games come down to one shot or one small thing, and you never know what really affected it, so ultimately, is what I'm doing helping us win? I think is a really good mindset, because, there's gonna be some stuff you don't want to do, but if you can convince yourself, or if you just know in the back of your mind that this is really something that's gonna be beneficial to the team, it'll make it a lot easier to go through it.
Yeah, for sure. There was something I listened to a story about this selection process for this current bracket. There was a team that made it in based off a couple wins that the commentators were talking about, and it was a total difference of 3 points. It was 1 point and a 1 point win in one game and a 2 point win in another game. There were 2 huge wins on getting them in to March Madness. And, those 1 points and those 2 points come from things that we do. So like come from training, come from recovery, come from the shakes and the meals that you help them with, and the creatine and everything that we put into it. Like that could be the difference of making or breaking the postseason. Yeah. Like 1 or 2 points.
Well, I think about South Alabama this year, where they, in my opinion, got kind of, hosed on a couple games because of last minute fouls or things that happened. Like they lost to Ark State. I think it was twice now, it was Arkansas State. That's what I'm thinking of. Arkansas State was the one who lost twice to South Alabama.
Oh yeah.
On like a last second shot that took it overtime, or another last second foul that was called that wasn't really a foul, and these things like ultimately ended up to them being a 7 seed, even though they were tied for second place.
Which is a whole wild thing about this belt.
Yeah.
6-way tie.
The 6-way tie for second.
But that's what matters when you actually prepare your athletes like that. Those things make a difference.
For sure.
Like those 1 point win games make a huge difference, and that comes from preparation.
Yeah. So. Okay, I have one final question for you.
Okay.
Who is your favorite dog on the planet?
My dog.
What's his name?
Deacon.
Tell us about Deacon a little bit.
Deacon. He is almost 9-year-old chocolate lab. Okay. He's got a little salt and pepper.
A goatee, if you will. Yeah.
A goatee, if you will. He is the best boy in the world, and he does come to the training room sometimes in the off season. He can't come on the court, but he loves coming to the training room and seeing all the athletes. He's a big hit with volleyball this year.
I'm sure.
And all of the athletes usually have nicknames for him. Some are appropriate, some are inappropriate. They just run with it. And he is, it's nice having, being able to bring him around, and it kind of lifts the morale in the training room. So I always look forward to that in the off season. It's like, or Sundays, he gets to come on Sundays sometimes. And that's another plus, is I get to bring my dog to work.
So. A therapy dog, essentially.
Yeah, like an unofficial, like a non-governmental therapy.
Yeah. That's because just in case the governing board is listening.
Sorry. No, we actually don't bring him to work.
Yeah, don't bring him to work at all.
No, he just sits outside.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, I think Deacon is fantastic. Obviously, I've got 3 dogs that I prefer, but I'd rank him 4th on the list.
Really?
Yeah. I've got to go with my 3 dogs.
Like, if ideally, and he's great in the car. Like, I want to convince DK to let me bring him on a bus and bring him on a trip.
Okay. That'll be, we'll do another episode in a year and see how that update went. So, well, Jess, thank you so much. Seriously, it was a very good episode, even though you think I'm going to make fun of you afterwards.
I know you are.
No, I won't. I promise you I won't. Besides just on the don't. Piece of it. If your knees hurt, don't.
And honestly, like, I say that to them.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure.
I do say that to them. They're like, I did this. I'm like, why would you do that?
Well, my favorite is when they're like, when I do this, it hurts. It's like, so don't do it. I don't know what to tell you.
Like, why would you sprain your ankle?
Why would you do that? It's so selfish of you.
Yeah, well, that, and like, now look at you. Now you can't play.
Dummy.
You should have done something else.
But thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it. If somebody wants to follow you on Instagram or, reach out with any questions they may have from the episode, what would be the best way to do that?
I'm not on Twitter or X. I'm not on anything besides Instagram.
Okay.
So just
what's the Instagram?
Just Jess Kinder.
Jess Kinder, all right.
The 1-on-1.
Easy to search. It's easy to search 1-on-1. All right. Well, thank you, Jess. I appreciate it.
Thanks, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.